Greetings and salutations. Do you remember the store, Circuit City? I do. And sadly, I do not know that it eventually went out of business. So, why don't we try talking about, in a way, it's starting and then its eventual fall. But before we do that, when was it founded? Well, it was founded in 1949 by Samuel Wurtzel as the Ward's Company, and it operates stores from across the United States and pioneered the electronics superstore in the 1970s. And you're thinking, electronic superstore. Well, when you think of an electronic superstore nowadays, we'd think of things like, say, Best Buy, and that you could probably get a lot of things that you perhaps would need when it comes to electronics. Perhaps you're looking for a computer. Perhaps you are looking for a new television set. Perhaps you are looking for, say, an electronics like a GPS or something of that nature. This is where normally you would have found it. But when did it start? Wurtzel was on vacation in Richmond, Virginia, when at a barbershop, he was a witness to the start of television. He was a witness to the start of television in the South. Imagining opportunities, in the late 1949, he moved his family to Richmond and opened the first Ward's Company retail store. And in 1959, he decided to operate 4 television and home appliance stores in Richmond. The company continued to grow and acquire stores in locations such as Albany, New York, Mobile, Alabama, Washington, D.C., and Costa Mesa, California. And then in the 70s and 80s, it also sold mail order under the name Dixie Hi-Fi, advertising Hi-Fi magazine. Maze. And he experimented with several retail formats, including Richmond, including smaller outlets, brands, Sight and Sound, and Circuit City. So that's basically some ideas of it. He served as president of the company until 1970s and remained chairman until 1984. And then his son became CEO of it until 1972, and initially focused on digesting the acquisitions and shielding unprofitable operations. But then the company decided to change its name to Circuit City and became listed on the New York Stock Exchange in 1984. And what was one of the slogans? Well, one of the slogans that it had was Circuit City, where the streets are paved with bargains. That's actually pretty cool. That's a pretty cool slogan. And one thing it did was they decided to rent space from a discount store known as Zones, as well as other department stores, and turning them into Circuit Cities, in some states as Knoxville, Tennessee, Charleston, South Carolina, and that's it, and Hampton, Virginia. And then in 1988, Circuit City began constructing the new plug designs for store formats. The company also returned to New York City, opening a superstore in Union Square. The first 2 planned Manhattan locations in 1988. And they also had an opportunity to purchase Best Buy.
Now, when someone's #1, there's a reason for it. They're the best, a winner. GE makes the best-selling name-brand appliances in the U.S., like this washing machine, on sale at Best Buy for just $257.99. There's nothing like a freshly washed jersey to give a youngster a little extra pride. Best Buy is proud to be the Midwest's fastest-growing appliance superstore, thanks to winning brands like GE and great prices on this washer. Now, come and get them.
A growing competitor at the time for $30 million. That's $66.7 million, as of last year. But that was rejected by Richard Sharp, Circuit City CEO, since he believed they could open a store in Best Buy's home territory in Minneapolis and easily beat them out. But that didn't happen. And like when looking back at it, one thing that made these stores pretty big is that they're about as big as something like, say, Best Buy mixed in with a Lowe's Superstore. One thing that was like, you know, they would do is sort of like how Best Buy does, but nowadays, like, say when you think about it, a lot like it would have like gaming, you know.
Presenting Sheer Madness, Circuit City's Midnight Madness Sale. Thursday only till midnight. Circuit City will go raving mad with shocking reductions on hundreds of items. Save on this VHS VCR, just $169. This RCA 19-inch color TV with remote is a mere $266. Circuit City's Midnight Madness Sale. Get there by midnight before the curtain falls.
All those kind of things. But it was more stretched out, because when you think of, like, say, Best Buy nowadays, shortened little sections, and only, like, say, so few based on a specific product. Like, here is your, your washing machines, here's your refrigerators, here's your other things and all that. But back then, it was actually rather different. And heck, even like, say, back then, back in the 90s, they fought Home Depot and Lowe's, where there'd be big savings in warehouse storages if they equipped the large appliances. So they thought, and so apparently they had missed, like, say, the opportunity on the residential housing boom of 2000, which saw a dramatic rise in new appliance, in a way. So that kind of hurt them. So every superstore was retrofitted after the exit from the large appliance business, using the space for an expanded self-service computer stuff. Stores at the time sold only PlayStation games under an exclusive agreement with Sony. And the new space allowed them to sell Nintendo, Sega, and eventually Xbox games after the agreement ended. And so, yeah, that means, like, say, looking back, especially in that time frame, back in the 2000s, when it comes to gaming, you would have a lot more variety. Like, instead, like, when it comes to, like, say, when you go to stores nowadays, when it comes to gaming, you just have, like, one little section. But back then, there would be, like, say, a long line, like, an entire section. Like, here's all the ones for PlayStation, here's all the ones for Nintendo. Like, here's, like, perhaps as long as, I'm trying to say example, like, perhaps as long as a, so, like, this retro preventing of it cost the company $1.5 billion. And beginning in the 2000s, the company moved away from the superstore showroom format and introduced a more self-service big box format called Horizon. And the new format offered better project-adjacent shopping carts, a front checkout area, and better lighting and signs. And so, in a way, the size of the store was reduced in size to allow, since more products were placed on the sales floor. In 2003, Circuit City converted to a single hourly pay structure in all stores, omitting commission sales, and in a way, like, you know, like when an employee was like saying, okay, check out this little beauty, you're gonna love it. Anyway, it would actually eventually change for that. And in 2004, Circuit City announced its purchase of Canadian retail Intertan. And Circuit City paid approximately US $284 million for the Intertan's 980 stores, and which operate in Canada under the trade name Radio Shack.
Judy, Roger from Jupiter wants you to call.
Hold it. No long-distance calls till I make sense of these rates.
Mother! Why don't you go to the Sprint store at Radio Shack for answers, George? Please!
I hate it when she does that.
Wow! Phones, answering machines, and long distance.
But what's it gonna cost?
With Sprint, it's simple. Just $10 a minute, anytime.
Really?
Great. Now you can call Roger.
Roger who?
Oh, boy.
The Sprint store at Radio Shack. You've got questions, we've got answers.
Bet you know about that one. Plus, Chairman and CEO Al believe these exist in small format stores, provide an easy entry into Canada, a country where Best Buy have been expanding. And then Radio Shack sued Intertan in April 2004, other branding use of Radio Shack in Canada. And Circuit City lost the lawsuit, and all Canadian locations were renamed The Source by Circuit City in 2005. And they were sold to Bell Canada and continued to operate. So, yeah. One thing that they decided to do, they decided to change their format name to The City, which was used from 2008 to 2009. Note to effects of liquidation sales, meaning, stores are closing, occurring in March 7th, 2009 at the Torrington, Connecticut in 2007. A new 220,000 square feet store format was introduced. The city designed to eliminate previously underutilized space. And one thing that also happened was after, the company started to go under, there will be, a revival of it with, in 2009, signed a stalking horse agreement for $6.5 million, which was initial offer for the bankrupt Circuit City's asset. And in May 13, 2009, it's announced that Systematic purchased the Circuit City brand name, trademarks, and e-commerce website for $14 million at auction at Circuit City stores. So after this, say some stores would be turned into online retailers.
If you love the convenience of shopping online, but you want to get a hold of your stuff ASAP, Circuit City makes it simple. Just buy online at CircuitCity.com and choose the in-store pickup option. We're the only place that guarantees your purchase will be ready for pickup in 24 minutes or less. If it's not, we'll give you a $24 gift card. It's that simple. Circuit City.
Of consumer, basically saying, okay, we are going to have compete with other stores, because around this time, the use of Amazon and all that, stores started to say, hey, it seems that some people aren't really coming into the store as much, so why don't we have someone come in, why don't we have, send it to people so they can get it. One thing that Circuit City also did was that it also had things such as FireDog. It was launched in 2006 to provide in-store, in-home, and online computer, and home theater technical support. And if you're thinking, this sounds familiar, well, this is similar to Best Buy's Geek Squad, where, you'd have, a person help you out to be able to do tech support and all that, in a way to be able to help you deal with all the things that are going on with your specific tech piece that you're needing help with. And, yeah, I really miss Circuit City. It was a big store. It would always have things that you would always need. I believe when I was growing up, Circuit City was a place we would always get, say if we were trying to go get a GPS, which were always cool, but at the same time nowadays, especially for traveling, those little things are, they're still available, but at the same time nowadays, it's you have your phone, so why get one of those? And at the same time, they would always have things say a new, say VHS, DVD players and all that, which I'm also going to be working on a thing talking about DVD players and all that. But, yeah. Did you ever go to Circuit City? What is your favorite memory when it comes to Circuit City? See you next time.